Hiya crafters, thanks for stopping by. I have some simple single layer prettiness to share with you today. Now this stencil that I'm showing you is called Woodstock Girl. This is from A Colorful Life Designs, and you can see it's got this beautiful imagery. I'm also going to double it up and use this Groovy Flowers masking stencil. Now I do have a coupon if you want to shop for some stencils. AmyFan10 will save you 10% on your complete order if you shop, so be sure to enter that at checkout. And here I have an A2 size card base of 110-pound cardstock, and I'm just kind of lining up the stencil and figuring out where I want it on the composition. Now I have a couple photos here to share with you of the finished card, and you can see it's very clean and simple, single layer. I'm just applying the ink directly on the card base, and it is 110-pound cardstock, so you can see nothing really shines through. It's just a nice, clean and simple, flat, easy to ship card. And I'm going to use this Party Collection. It's the Date Night ink pads from Catherine Pooler. And I have my Bitty Bunny blending brushes. These are my mini blending brushes from the Rabbit Hole Designs. I do also have the full-size ones, but I find that with these little details and nooks and crannies, it's really handy to have these little tiny blending brushes on hand, because then I can really focus the color where I want it and not where I don't. So you can see here I'm just kind of coming in with these pink and orangey type of colors just to kind of fill in the blooms on this pretty girl's head. And I'm just kind of working through some of the colors. I'm letting them overlap and kind of create second colors, and I am kind of overlapping in sections kind of onto the hair in places where I don't want it, but I'm not super worried because I know that I'm going to come back later with a neutral color just to kind of cover that up. So I'm not being completely concise here. If I was super worried about it, I could use, little post-it notes or something and mask off areas, but I'm really not that worried about it. In the end result, it ends up looking how I wanted it. So I'm using the yellow color at first just to kind of lay down the skin tone of this girl, but I do end up coming in with a more neutral color here. I have the Antique Linen. This is the mini cube of Distress ink, and I'm just kind of overlaying that yellow just to kind of make it a little bit more of a natural skin tone rather than the yellow. And then I am also going to use the Antique Linen just to kind of initially over the hair portions, but again I will come in with a darker brown color as well on that. But I did want to have some gradient and color in spots, so I am laying down that Antique Linen first just over the strands of hair. And you can see I'm just kind of going back and forth rather than dabbing. And then I have I forgot what color brown that is, but I will link it in the video description box below with the other products that I used. But it's one of the brown Distress inks, and then I'm using that in spots to finish up the hair and kind of cover up my mistakes where I got, some green or purple or something where I didn't want it. So I haven't used this stencil before. I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to turn out, but just like all my beautiful A Colorful Life stencils, they always wow me when I do the big reveal. So you'll be just as surprised as I was, but I just think it's so gorgeous, and I love the continuity of the lines and how our brains just kind of fill in the rest of the parts, and we make the connections on what the image is supposed to be. So I love designs like this. I think it's really pretty, and it works so well with a clean and simple sort of design. And now you can see I'm using the Groovy Flowers stencil just to kind of lay some flowers and some additional color in the background just to add some more interest. And you can see I'm kind of not even masking off the girl. I'm just kind of going around kind of like a vignette around the outside in that yellow and the teal color. And then I have this stamp set from Pink Fresh Studios. It has some gorgeous heartfelt sentiments here, so I'm just going to do the stamping directly on the card base. And I have this grid transparency here just to kind of help me straighten out my sentiment, make sure that's good to go, because on a simple design like this you want to make sure that you have your sentiment straight. So I'm just gonna stamp that real quick with one of the colors that I used in the ink blending, so it'll have that continuity here. So I'm just going to stamp that a couple times down, and that's the beauty of the Misty. If you don't get a perfect impression the first time, you can stamp as many times as you need to make sure you get a nice even stamp there. So I have my press tool from Tailored Expressions just to allow me to apply some even pressure while I'm stamping. And I did go at it a few times here. I think I was just trying to get Oh, yeah, that's right. I added a different one of the pinks just to kind of create a gradient like I had in the flowers. But then I decided that the corally color was a little too orange, so I ended up just going over the whole thing again. So normally I wouldn't have to stamp that often, but I was kind of changing my mind with the different colors that I was using for the stamping. And then here I'm going to continue the groovy flowers onto the inside of the card, just using some residual ink on my blending brushes. I don't want it to be too dark because I want to be able to write over that area to my recipient. So I'm just doing some very light-handed ink blending in those same two colors that I used on the front of the card, just to add some of those pretty groovy flowers onto the inside. And then again, I'm going to open up my card and load it up in the Misty again and take another sentiment from that same stamp set from Pink Fresh and then stamp it onto the inside of the card. And again, I have the grid transparency to keep it nice and straight and get that lined up. Now, I did end up actually giving this card to my daughter. She really liked the stencil when she first saw it, and I thought, well, this would be perfect for her. So every once in a while I'll make her a card and, leave it in her book bag or leave it on her bed or things like that, just to kind of, give her a smile, just like a card would for any one of us. But you'll see I did switch to my larger size Misty. I could have made it work in the smaller one, but I just wanted the flexibility of being able to use the larger one. So this is the original size Misty, and I just have it loaded up after much back and forth and fussing. I finally got it sorted, but I'm just going to use the yellow color to stamp on the inside of the card, and it says, "You are next level amazing." So that's certainly how I feel about my daughter, and certainly true about her. So I hope you like this card. It turned out gorgeous. I was happy to play with these gorgeous colors and have this awesome design. So if you want to check out the stencils, I will link the shop as well as all the other products that I used in the video description box below. If you do shop for stencils, there are so many to choose from. There's so many amazing options in the shop, and save yourself some cash with my coupon. So AmyFan10 will save you 10% on your complete order. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. I'll check you next time. Bye.